The word Elohim, which appears in the book of Genesis, when it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." That word, God, in the Hebrew, is Elohim. The word Elohim is both masculine and feminine. It contains the masculine and the feminine. So what it's actually saying is that in the beginning, gods and goddesses created the heavens and the earth. Plural. If you want to find God, you can find him, you can find her between the legs of your woman. God has hidden himself, herself, in the divine union of masculine and feminine. God isn't to be found in a church. He is not to be found in Scripture. He is not to be found even in raw nature, if you want to find God in God's highest form. If you want to find God in God's highest form, you must return to the place from which you came. Christ said, "If you wish to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must be born again." He also said, there are some in this world who became eunuchs involuntarily, and others who became eunuchs voluntarily. But this is a hard saying, and let those who have ears to hear, hear. He wasn't talking about castrating yourself to become a eunuch. What Christ was talking about was true chastity. Not the kind of chastity where you never touch a woman, which is a perversion and a lie and a distortion sold to us by an infrasexual religious slavery system. The kind of chastity which Christ taught, which was first demonstrated to us at the wedding in Cana where he performed his first miracle, is the chastity of transmuting the seed through the sexual act. Not outside the sexual act, through the sexual act. This is why the Messiah, the Anointed One, rocked up at a wedding to perform his first miracle. The wedding, the perfect matrimony, the union of two souls. This was where Christ chose to demonstrate the transmutation, the transformation, the divine sacred alchemy of turning water into wine, of turning that into lesser value, lead, water, flesh, into something of greater value, wine, blood, spirit. He was revealing to us the secret of secrets, which has been jealously guarded for millennia. The secret is perfect matrimony. God commanded Adam to be joined to his wife, because in the joining, if there is a transmutation of the semen, in other words, if one touches the fruit but does not eat of it, if one touches the fruit of sexual pleasure but does not eat of it, one does not eat of the orgasm, then one can be returned to absolute union with the divine. This is how God is known. This is how God is permanently anchored into the physical plane. Have you noticed that the psychedelics wear off as soon as the molecules have been processed out of your system? Have you noticed that the Vipassana practice, the thousands of hours of meditation, wears off as soon as you stop practicing? Have you noticed that the fasting wears off as soon as you start eating food again? Have you noticed that the prayers, the practices, the techniques, all of these spiritual disciplines, the yoga, the hatha yoga, it is all temporary. It all has to be done over and over again, and it does not get you to the final step, the final dissolution. It's because the final step is perfect matrimony. The joining of the lingam with the yoni, without spilling the cup of Hermes, without releasing the God essence. When the lingam enters the yoni, the energetic circuit is complete. Two become one. You return to the place from which you came. As this circuit stays connected, a charge begins to build up. A flow of electrons from one to the other. A magnetism, a field starts to build. An action potential starts to rise. And the longer that the couple who is divinely joined, who is truly in love, together not for lust, not for money, not for ulterior motives, not for status or power or gain, the couple who is spiritually joined, let no man break apart. This couple will build up a charge. The charge begins to vibrate the molecules. The charge begins to stir the sacred waters, as was described in Genesis when God created the heavens and the earth. There was chaos in the deep. There was chaos in the waters below the firmament. There was a separation of the waters below the firmament and the waters above the firmament. The waters below the firmament, the semen, the raw, chaotic waters, the darkness of the deep. There was a separation between the two when God created. But now, as practitioners of the highest discipline, the highest art form, the highest practice, the bridge back to God, we must draw up the chaos of the lower waters and reunite it with the higher waters. You can see this running through all esoteric teachings. It is the core of all esoteric teachings. It all comes back to sacred alchemy. Tantra. There is a left hand and there is a right hand path. The left hand always releases. The black magicians always release the semen. They shoot the life force out of their body, and therefore they must increase intensity continuously to continue gaining life force back from the external. They must seize life force from the external. One woman is not enough for a black magician because they have ejected God from their body, so they must take it by force from others, from more women, from children, from animals, blood rituals, sacrifices. That is the left-hand path. It tends further and further into chaos and decay, further and further into the demonic realm. This is why corn is free. This is why our world is over-sexualized. This is why all of the media is blasting in your face to be bored, to be dissatisfied, to be lusting after something new, someone new all the time, to be releasing your seed, to chase the orgasm. It's because the left-hand path leads you to become a worshipper of the darkness, leads you to become a demon, to become a child of Beelzebub, Satan, Lucifer. Lucifer's original design was to descend into the flesh, just as Prometheus stole the fire from heaven. Lucifer is the Christic energy which descends from the head down into the earth, down through the hearth, earth, down through the heart, through the fires of the heart, into the lower waters, into the chaotic waters of the root chakra, the survival center. That is what hell is. Hell is living in the root chakra, the color red, the color of the devil, the color of the root chakra, the color of blood. It's all the same. The violence, the power seizing, the power seeking, the seeking to gain power over others. That is all of the root chakra. That is all of the Luciferic energy which is stuck. Lucifer came on a mission to discover himself, to know thyself. Lucifer is an aspect, an emanation of God. And Lucifer rises out of hell as Christ. Christ descended into hell, became Lucifer, but then he ascended back out of the root chakra. He started to transmute the sexual energy through the practice of perfect matrimony, through not spilling the seed, through transmuting, through drawing the Christic energy back up to the crown. That is the path of Christ rising again. It's an archetype, it's a template, it's a pattern for you and I to follow. Christ is not an external person who we need to worship and venerate outside of ourselves and make ourselves unworthy, putting all the worth onto Christ, denigrating ourselves, calling ourselves sinners. This was never the intention of Christ. Christ came to show us that he is within us, and we resurrect him through the practice of Tantra. Are the puzzle pieces starting to fall into place yet? I'm practicing what I preach. I haven't consciously released for over 200 days. Although my woman has recently given birth and sexual intimacy has been quite scant due to her hormonal profile, the moments when we have practiced, when we've come together, have been unlike anything I've ever experienced. Many of you are concerned about practicing alchemy because you think you're going to miss out on something. You think that the reward is to be had in the orgasm. You think that that temporary flood of chemicals, pleasure chemicals, is actually worth going after. I've tasted that cocktail too many times and compared it to the supernovic bliss that I experience when I retain in the act of sex. When I compare it to the power levels which I'm able to direct in to my lover and cycle back through her, out of her, back into me, as we create this vortex of energy back and forth, yin and yang, which only gets stronger due to not releasing. The energy field gets stronger and stronger, and you learn how to master it. You learn how to direct it. You are operating at such a high level of self-mastery in those moments of intense, ecstatic bliss and passion, when the lower self, when the root, when Lucifer simply wants to release, but you maintain that Christic presence because you've been there too many times. You know where that path leads and you're done with it. You're ready to ascend. You're ready to taste of the fruit of the tree of life. Tree of knowledge of good and evil, you've been there. You've eaten it too many times. It's become sickening to you. You're done with it. You've hammered that thing past its due date. Now you're ready to taste of the fruit of the tree of life. And so you maintain those nuts. You maintain that ball sack full of semen. And you begin to draw it up using the breath. In those moments of ecstatic pleasure with your lover, you begin to breathe it up. You begin to breathe that raw, chaotic, sexual power up into the heart, and your heart explodes open and shines beams of power, love, passion into your lover, and she feeds off that energy. She draws it in, and she is amplified. Her Shakti begins to emanate out of her, and it's this exchange of raw, pure, primal passion that goes far beyond anything you experience when releasing. And it only builds. There is no refractory period. The intensity, the desire, the passion only builds exponentially. It keeps growing. Brother, you wonder how men like Alexander the Great, Christ, Buddha, Zoroaster, Muhammad, all of these prophets, how did they achieve such magnitude? How did they have such profound impact on the social matrix, on the collective consciousness of humanity? I'll tell you how they did it. They allowed Shakti to inspire them. They allowed the divine feminine energy to light up their soul, chakra by chakra, energy channel by energy channel, fully opened up to the God frequency, fully opened up to the Elohim, the masculine and the feminine, the gods and goddesses, the collective in one. God is one. That's how they did it. They activated God within. You can do it too. We are in a time when evil is greater upon the earth than it has ever been. Just like the days of Noah, so shall it be before the return of the Son of Man. You are the Son of Man. You are the Son of God. It's within you, waiting to be opened like a gift, a divine gift. And it can only be opened with the key of sexual alchemy. Grow beyond the semen retention. That is step one. That's kindergarten. Master your semen retention. Obliterate everything that stands in your way, everything that would seek to drag you back down into hell, back into the root chakra. Eliminate it from your life. Get jacked. Get your money situation together. Get your survival needs met. Stop these endless cycles of destruction. Sort your shit out. And then attract a godly woman. Marry her. Practice alchemy. There is no higher path. If you want to be guided on how to do this, join the community, the Sons of God. There is a movement stirring upon the earth right now. We need more warriors. We need more men who have something to fight for. I'm telling you, once you join with your woman at this level of intimacy, you have something to fight for. You don't have to worry about looking for your purpose anymore. It'll be right there, staring back at you, undeniable. I know what my purpose is. There's no question. This is the way, brothers.